a lot of folks have the belief that an athlete should focus solely on their career and shouldn't distract themselves with outside ventures. And I agree to an extent. I believe that an athlete should focus on getting settled in his or her new club and getting to the point where they're contributing to the team effectively. However, every athlete should at some point try their hand at a small business. As a professional, that's kind of that's for most athletes, it's going to be the height of your popularity and exposure. People want to be associated with you. They want to do business with you. They want to interview you. And there's no better time to leverage that star power and from a marketing standpoint. So in my case, for example, when I left, I went to Saudi Arabia strategically. Okay, the club I went to was one of the top teams in Saudi Arabia, and I knew that the team was sort of sponsored by a Saudi prince. Okay, so that was where I started my business. I started it in 2010, 11. So when I left Saudi Arabia, I already built up a network to be able to help me sort of transition into my next career. So, which was IT. I started an IT venture. So I taught myself how to code while I was playing in Saudi Arabia. I learned how to negotiate contracts. I learned how to interpret legalese. So when I left Saudi Arabia and went to Poland, I had a company already up and running with a couple of projects. When I left Poland and came back to the States and got things sort of settled, I was able to segue into I was able to leverage those relationships in Saudi Arabia to get the contract with the Saudi Arabia Olympic Committee. So even to this day, even though my company is closed, my IT company is closed, if you go to the Saudi Olympic Committee website, so it's olympic.sa, and you scroll to the bottom, you'll see J Social, which is my company. Website's down, company's closed, but I still have it on my LinkedIn. If you go down there, you'll see J Social. We got Al Hazm, which is the largest parts manufacturer in the Middle East. We secured TSM Arabia, which was a joint venture between Saudi Steel and TSM Korea. So we had that contract. We got AmeriHealth. From because I leveraged my relationships in Saudi Arabia, I got a contract I didn't deserve at the time. We were calling developers in India to try and sort of figure this out, and we got a contract that was way above our pay grade at the time. But we adapted. We got the job done. The job was done well. We made a lot of mistakes, but we figured those out. And then it sort of springboarded us into other opportunities that we got because of the profile of the Olympic Committee website. So, again, just by knowing who you're dealing with, being intentional about your objectives, talking to people who are in business, letting them know that you're interested in doing business, they'll help you. Excuse me, they'll help you. The other thing is once you're done playing, you've built up a body of work, a certain level of experience and expertise that is valuable. So whether you're opening a soccer training company or a club, leverage your brand, leverage the experience that you put in and that you have and the time that you put into becoming a professional level soccer player. All that's business. All of that time spent, all of those photos on Google, all of those videos of you on YouTube and your highlights, all of those comments on the blogs of your club, all that's value. All that is brand equity. So don't forget that and be intentional about how you take your steps as you're playing. You want to get to the highest level you can. If you can get to a national team, that's great market. It's great for later marketing and brand and your brand later on. If you can play in MLS or if you can play in Europe, that's great marketing. Okay, In college, I happened to, I was fortunate to also be ACC Player of the Year. So that's sort of another level of marketing. Most kids are trying to play in college. Most kids aren't going to be professionals. The large majority of kids will play in college. So that's great marketing if you plan on being a youth coach or coaching in college. Or it's a great tool for marketing if you're trying to build your own youth club. So just keep those things in mind. The things that you accomplished, the time put in, the lessons learned, and then your ability to translate those lessons to kids in digestible amounts so that they can retain it and grow as a result of your experience and how you relay it to them. All that's value. All of its value. So just keep this stuff in mind, especially the guys that are aspiring pros. The guys that are already pros, this is a little more urgent. But those of you that are aspiring pros, you've got to keep these things in mind. So, and again, I'm always available to talk if anyone's interested.